the Liberty Dialogue's response, restoring order. It's May 2nd. Welcome to YesToHellWith.com. Up to this point, we have examined the structure of prosecution in detail. We have looked at the role of the prosecutor, the incentives that drive behavior, charging decisions, withholding evidence, plea bargaining, immunity, courtroom narrative, the shifting burden of proof, and why most people lose before trial. Now we arrive at the most important question. What is the proper response? Not emotionally, not reactively, but structurally. Because the problem we have identified is not random, it is structural. And therefore the response must also be structural. This is where the Liberty Dialogue's framework becomes essential, because it restores order. Now understand this clearly. The Liberty Dialogues does not begin with argument. It begins with sequence, a disciplined order of examination, authority, jurisdiction, status, standing, obligation, and enforcement, all under the umbrella of presumption, because each of these elements must be established before lawful enforcement can occur. Now here is the critical shift. Most people enter the system at the end. They respond to enforcement. They argue outcomes. They negotiate consequences. But they never go back to the beginning. They never ask, what is the authority? And if authority is not clearly established, everything that follows is compromised. Now, once authority is identified, the next question is jurisdiction. Where is the power being applied? To whom? Under what conditions? Because jurisdiction is not assumed. It must be demonstrated. Then comes status. How is the individual being classified? Under what definition? And is that classification accurate or simply presumed? Then standing. Who is bringing the claim under what authority? And what is the injury or violation being asserted? Then obligation. What specific duty exists? Where is it defined? How is it applied? And most importantly, has it been proven? Not assumed, proven. And only after all of these elements are established does enforcement become relevant. Now here is the power of this structure. It slows the process. It interrupts assumption. It requires clarity. And it forces each element to stand on its own. Now understand that this is not resistance. This is examination. This is not obstruction. This is structure. And within the Liberty Dialogues, that distinction is everything. Because once you operate within this framework, you are no longer reacting to the system. You are engaging it on its foundation. Now here is the key insight. The system relies upon momentum. It moves forward step by step. And if those steps are not examined, they accumulate until the outcome appears inevitable. And when you introduce structure, that momentum is interrupted. Each step is tested. Each assumption is questioned. Each element is required to be proven. And when that happens, the process changes. Now understand this, that the Liberty Dialogues does not guarantee outcomes. It guarantees clarity. And clarity is what allows truth to emerge. So the response is simple, but not easy. Discipline, structure, sequence. To return to first principles at every stage. To ask questions that must be answered. To require the proof that must be provided. And to refuse to operate on presumption. Because once that happens, the balance begins to shift back to where it belongs. And as always, may truth reign supreme.